Let's get back to Philadelphia. Alex is standing by with California Governor Gavin Newsom. Alex.
Thanks, Rachel. Just a few minutes ago, Governor, Donald Trump entered the spin room.
Yeah.
There had been some speculation, some rumors earlier in the day that he might pull a trick like that. I actually was skeptical because I was able to enter this arena with a large hoagie wrapped in brown paper. This was not a highly secure facility for someone who has just survived an assassination attempt. Nonetheless, he was just here, spinning his spin. What do you think that represents in terms of his assessment of
an act of desperation. He knows he got his clock clean. From the moment she came out on stage, when she introduced himself, she had the courage to go over to him, shake his hand, clearly he was uncomfortable, and introduced herself as Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris. She commanded the room from the second she came out. She was a commander-in-chief, and she had him on the defense the entire night. If this was a prize fight, it would have been TKO in the second round. She did as well or better than any of us could have hoped for, and I know her well enough to know this: the best is yet to come. She can do that even more. With more experience, more time on the campaign trail, you're going to see the quality of her performance only improve.
You know, we just played that sound of the exchange she had with Donald Trump on his role in overturning Roe v. Wade. Something, at one point, he said he had done a great service to the country by appointing the Supreme Court justices who overturned Roe, and then said it was what everybody wanted. When you think about the issue that could decide the election, that could be the whole ballgame.
Well, the way she was able to humanize that and talk about 12 and 13-year-olds that have been raped, that are clutching teddy bears as they're giving birth to the rapist babies. I mean, what she didn't say was those same 12 and 13-year-olds in Mississippi, there was one girl that had to bring her kid to 7th grade. That's Donald Trump's America. She was able to bring that to light in a deeply emotional way. That was the most significant and consequential moment of the debate, because she spoke for millions and millions and millions of women and parents like me with 2 daughters. That was a significant, significant moment. And here's why it was significant as well. And it's not an indictment of Joe Biden by any stretch of the imagination, but it shows a differentiator. It shows what she is able to bring in terms of her communication, particularly on issues like that, to a whole nother level. And now to this new and expanded audience. And that goes back to why Donald Trump was in the spin room. It was a bad night for him.
Yeah, her ability to talk about abortion in a deeply emotional way is resonant enough that I think it's not just about fathers of daughters or women, but men, people all over the country understand the gravity of those situations.
People are sick of the way women have been treated in this country, sick of the way the LGBTQ community has been treated in this country, sick of how immigrants have been treated in this country. And the African-American community, they're sick of it. And that was another great part of this debate. Near the end, when we talked about the issues of race, and she elevated that in a way that gave, I saw there was a young girl, a young African-American girl in the spin room. She walked from the back of the room to the front of the room. I'm almost getting emotional about this. And she was looking at that screen because she saw herself. I mean, that was a different level of attachment. It didn't come from here. That came from here. And that's what she brought tonight. This was not a great night for her. This was a great night for this country, for freedom, for democracy, the rule of law, for social justice and racial justice. I'm just filled with pride. And I'm also filled with pride because that's the Kamala Harris I've known for 30 years. We've been saying this. I know people go, I'm telling you, that Kamala Harris I've known for 30 years. And this levity, she's back in a profound and deep way. And I think this is a tough, tough night for the campaign, for the Trump campaign, in another way. How they react to this or how they overreact to this will be more determinative than the punditry in the moment and how the first flash poll moves. I think this was shape-shifting in a deeper way, and it will show itself over the course of the next few weeks.
Well, you know, it's the Kamala Harris that you've known for the last 30 years. It's also the Donald Trump that the country's known for the last 9, maybe even a worse version, the version that talks about pets being barbecued for lunch. He didn't use it. Pets being eaten by dogs and cats, I guess, are breathing a sigh of relief tonight, knowing that at least one person.
Well, no Hannibal Lecter, at least.
But you know, Trump really, you talked before we went into this, that Trump has become kind of a bad imitation of himself. And what we saw tonight was a vice president, former prosecutor, laying these traps repeatedly for Trump, who kept walking into them, whether it was his father's silver spoon or the size of his rallies or him being a disgrace on the world stage. Each and every one of them he responded to.
It was too easy. It was too easy. I mean, this just shows how consequential this election was. She laid those traps. And I want to compliment her, but they weren't even that complex. They're just trigger words. And you just watched, you saw his physiology, you saw his eye movement, you knew where he was going to go. But it's also what the rest of the world does to Donald Trump. She was absolutely right. I've been in those rooms with foreign leaders all around. I've met with dozens of them. They all say exactly what she said tonight. They're laughing behind his mouth. He's so prone to flattery and, as she said, favor.
And terrified of being humiliated.
How easy manipulated he becomes because he's weak. Weakness masquerading as strength. And that weakness was exposed tonight in a pretty profound and consequential way because it was over 90 minutes and he couldn't get off the mat.
Do you think this debate is the difference maker that needs to happen for, I guess, what it feels like, we're being told is going to be the tightest election of our lifetimes, that there needs to be some meaningful sort of change to move the numbers in any sort of definitive way?
I think we all have to be careful not to overhype. I think we can overanalyze over too much punditry. As I say, I think this unfolds over the course of the next few weeks. Let's give you a couple examples. I mean, honestly, I think the Taylor Swift endorsement, how Trump reacts to that and how that can create a few news cycles, how he reacts in terms of his grievance and his pity party on those networks and how he goes out and does these large-scale events and how he just consumed by how unfair this was and how rigged this was. And all of a sudden that can expose itself as even more damaging than just the punditry of the moment, just the situation tonight. So, no, I think it was. That said, I'm a little subjective, candidly, but I cannot objectively imagine in those 60, 80 counties within those 7 swing states that people truly were open argument, interested in evidence, that were really kicking the tire, how anyone could have concluded that there wasn't just one commander-in-chief and her name was Kamala Harris on stage tonight.
Well, it was an eventful evening for both sides of the race.
Amazing.
Do you think there should be another debate? Do you think there will be another debate?
Absolutely, unequivocally, there should be another debate. And it should come in October. He said, anytime, anywhere. Let's do it. Why wouldn't we?
All right. Governor Gavin Newsom. I mean, I think we're just going to take this show on the road, Rachel. Just go sell cheese sandwiches out of the back of the VW and follow this ride wherever it goes. Looking for a miracle.
I'd pay good money. I'd buy the T-shirt. I'd do the whole thing. Thanks, you guys. It's great.